Hi, everyone. When you are done with all of your levels that we've practiced so far this year, you're going to start planning your first WOW project. So far, we have been experimenting a lot this year in art, and we're going to move into the next phase of the art process on this wheel, which is planning art, creating art, and then eventually we'll get some feedback and reflect on our art and display our art. But right now, we're kind of in this section right here. So, your WOW project is something that's going to last a few weeks, something that you work on for more than one day. And it's something that you really think very deeply about and you plan out using the experiment levels that you've learned so far in art this year. And your WOW project is going to stick to a theme. So let's look at the themes that you have to choose from for your first WOW project. So there's three themes, and these three themes kind of relate to some of the art that we've seen so far this year. Number one is humans and the environment. Number two is family history or culture. Number three is cute and creepy. So let's talk about number one, humans and the environment. There's lots of artists who show humans and the environment as a theme in their art. Here's two that I really like, Banksy and Pijak. Banksy, if we look at this work of art here, think in your head for a minute, how do you think this shows humans in the environment? Well, if you look closely, this is a picture of a bird, but there's something kind of funny happening to this bird. If you look closely at the head of the bird, it's not an actual real head of a bird, it's a gas tank. That's interesting. So let's think about what the artist is trying to say here. Obviously, he is in support of humans taking care of the environment, but he maybe thinks that sometimes humans don't take care very well of the environment. So, what he's trying to say here is if we keep polluting the earth with things like gas from cars, litter, and air pollution, that it's going to affect the animals on the planet. Wow, that's a really powerful work of art. It's kind of almost hidden, but then once you study it, it comes together. Pijak is another artist who obviously is in support of the environment, but thinks that people don't take care of the environment well enough, and he thinks it's a big problem. So if you look at this work of art here, these are humans we can see, but then if you look closer down, it looks like they're almost turning into trees. Think closely about what he is trying to say in this work of art. Looks like the humans are trying to cut down the trees, but aren't the trees themselves? The trees are a part of them. Oh my gosh, so what is he trying to say here? I think he's trying to say that if humans keep polluting the earth by cutting down the trees that give humans oxygen, that basically we're kind of cutting down ourselves. We're affecting all the humans on the planet by cutting down those trees because we almost are the trees. We get oxygen from the trees and we need the trees. Wow, that's a really powerful work of art too. All right, let's look at our next theme, family history and culture. Here's two artists who like that theme in their art, Faith Ringgold and Huang. So Faith Ringgold is an artist who likes to show stories of her family in her art. And she always thinks about stories like when she was growing up, when she was little. And she painted a picture here that shows something that her family did, like a tradition. So they would always go up on the rooftop of their apartment building in New York where they lived, and they would have picnics. And she would lay out with her brothers and sisters and pretend she was at the beach. So this is called Tar Beach. And then her family was always very into making quilts. That was a big tradition in her family. So she always puts like a quilt border around her painting and she paints on top of the fabric. So this is a big quilt with little pieces of fabric, and then she paints on top of the middle part. Wow, that's really amazing. So you can see how that fits with her family culture. Huang is another artist who is a Japanese American, and he creates art to show his Japanese culture. In traditional Japanese prints, hundreds of years ago, a lot of floral patterns would be visible in these prints, and he kind of likes to take that floral pattern and those themes of nature and he puts them into his art. So what he did actually is he painted on his face to look like a traditional Japanese print to show his culture. Really interesting. And then he took a photograph of it. It's almost like he is the traditional painting because it's a part of him. All right, here's my favorite one. This one is cute and creepy. Now, we've looked at some art this year where we couldn't really tell whether it was cute or creepy, or maybe it was kind of both. So this is a theme that if you're going to choose this one, you have to come up with an idea of designing a character. And these are two artists who do this really well. Now, these characters, if you look at them closely, they're kind of funny because sometimes they look cute, but then also they look a little bit creepy. So they're cute and creepy creatures. And so if you pick this theme, you're going to think about designing a character and using either drawing or painting to create a character that has kind of like a feeling of cute and creepy. So both of these artists do a really great job making little sculptures of different characters. And they use face expressions and color and almost like fantasy design to show like their own unique character that almost could be like in an animation. But they make sure it has like that weird in-between vibe of cute and creepy. That's what makes it interesting. Okay. So once you figure out which theme you like, you're going to go to page 18 in your sketchbook and you're going to start planning out your WOW project. Your WOW project should stick to just one of those themes, not all three. It says WOW project number 1, that's where you're going to plan your first WOW project. So you're going to just sketch a little idea of what you want your art to look like. This is not your final art. It's just a quick sketch, just an idea of how it's going to be laid out. Then you're going to share your idea with a friend. You're going to write your friend's name here and you're going to tell them about your art. Then they are going to do this thing called tag. They're going to tell you something they like about your art, ask you a question about your art, and then give you some advice about how your art is. And then you're going to think about that friend's ideas and then sketch a final plan. So your final plan should maybe change a little bit from the original idea after you kind of think about the feedback they gave you. Then you're going to choose which art supply are you using to create this project. Now, so far this year, we've only done drawing and painting skills, so you're going to circle either drawing or painting, or maybe it needs to be both. Maybe it needs to start as a drawing and then you're going to add paint. You can circle both. Then it says, go see your teacher. You're going to share your ideas with me, and I'm going to give you a check mark here. Finally, before you create your WOW project, you're going to create a little goal plan. So that's on page 20. It says, WOW project number 1. You need to decide how many days is this plan going to take you. Okay, ignore that bell. Sorry, friends. You're going to decide how many days is this plan going to take you. Now, a good idea for a WOW project is definitely more than 1 day. And a goal I would like to set for you is 3 days or more. So between about 3 and 6 days. You're going to circle how many days and then write a goal for each day. So maybe your goal for day 1 would be gathering ideas, gathering pictures from Google, and making sure you have all the resources you need. Then maybe on day 2, you will start to kind of sketch out your ideas on your paper. Maybe on day 3, you'll start to paint. Maybe on day 4, you'll do your second layer of paint. Each day you're going to circle, did I meet my goal, yes or no? And if the answer is no, then the next day you might need to edit your goal. Okay, friends, once you have your plan and you are ready with your goal sheet, then you can start creating your WOW project. All right, happy creating.